Tennessee Titans have been a playoff contender every year since 2018. But we always wonder about the offensive balance with that team, with Mike Vrabel as their head coach. We know they got an unbelievable running game with Derrick Henry. Last night, if you would have said, hey, which quarterback's going to throw for 300 yards, I wouldn't have picked Ryan Tannehill. And the Titans probably wouldn't have picked Ryan Tannehill. They ran the ball okay, but they passed the ball really well. And Treylon Burks, their first-round pick, looked pretty good as well. And I know, standalone game, everybody's going to have an opinion on both of these teams. But keep in mind, the Titans are 29th in passing yards. They're 24th in points per game scored. If they could build off what we saw last night, then they're going to be one of those tough outs. It's the same thing that happens to the Titans every year. You kind of look up and you go, gosh, how did they get 10 wins or 11 wins? They got a 3-game lead in their division. And that brings us to your Green Bay Packers. My Green Bay Packers. One of my Super Bowl picks against the Chargers. Boy, that's going really well. But you're watching that game last night and you keep thinking, what's wrong with Aaron Rodgers? Because, maybe something's, his thumb is bothering him. To what extent, we don't know yet. But he was throwing passes that were wobbling. And I thought, okay, maybe there is something. Maybe there's something else there. The thumb is wrapped, but that's not the reason why they're losing, because he's throwing wobbly passes. Although he had this to say about his passing issues last night.
I couldn't tell you, point to one thing. I'm not going to make excuses about my thumb. It's been the same since New York. I don't know. I got to go back and look at it. I felt like fundamentally I was, in a good spot, but just didn't have the same type of consistent grip and ball coming out the same way. I threw a lot of kind of wobblers tonight. So
here's what I need to know as we move forward. What, Seton?
Well, I'm not going to point to my thumb being a problem. I don't want to make any excuses, but fundamentally I was good. I just couldn't get a consistent grip on the football and threw a lot of wobblers.
He had a much better thumb last season.
Okay, so what would be maybe the one thing impacting your grip, Aaron?
My thumb?
No excuses. No excuse. This one's on me.
Was his thumb available for comment? That's what I want to know. I'd like to talk to that thumb.
I don't want to make any excuses for my thumb, but I just couldn't grip the ball well since New York.
Okay, they had chances, though, in the fourth quarter, and that's what I was wondering. And we went back and looked. So to start the fourth quarter, 3 plays, they had 3 yards, punt. Then they got it back a little over 10 minutes ago. 3 plays, 8 yards. Then they got it back under 7 yards. They had an interception. There was 4 plays, 7 yards, and then 10 plays, 37 yards with just under 5 minutes to go. That's it. Fourth quarter. And the defense, I thought, kind of held its own there. They did a pretty good job against Derrick Henry. The goal line stand, I thought they did a pretty good job. Good enough that Aaron Rodgers should be able to overcome that. But now we got to start looking at the bigger picture here for Green Bay. You're not out of the playoff picture, but you're pretty close to being out of the playoff picture. You got the Eagles coming up. I mean, you have some winnable games here. Well, at least we think they're winnable games with what we thought the Green Bay Packers used to be. They got Lions and the Bears. I don't know if they're better than the Lions or the Bears right now, as strange as that may sound. You got the Eagles coming up as well. They got the Dolphins coming up as well. Let's say you win 4 games. You're going to be right there on the cusp, maybe, depending on what happens with, the Niners. And, you can't rule out the Falcons or the Cardinals. But if it goes the other way, at what point do you go, do we want to put in Jordan Love? Now, I can't imagine Aaron Rodgers suiting up, being on the sidelines, watching Jordan Love play. I can't imagine that. I don't know how good a cheerleader he's going to be or acting like a cheerleader. If the thumb needs surgery at some point, even if he should have elective surgery, just like, you know what, once we're out of the playoffs, I'm going to have surgery on my thumb. I'll just go in there and you don't need it. Yeah, but let's go in and, that way I can shut it down here. But at some point, does Green Bay go, Jordan Love, come on in, play a little bit? And if you go back to when they drafted him, They didn't know how long Aaron Rodgers was going to play. And then all of a sudden, Aaron's going to come back. And then is Aaron going to come back? Yes, he's going to come back. And then we're going to sign him to a 2-year, $100 million deal. He's got one more year at $50 million. I don't care how bad the roster looks. If you're going to get $50 million, you can only do so much ayahuasca. I'm going to guess that you probably still want to play football for another $50 million. But what do you do with Jordan Love? You got to pick up his fifth-year option? You're not going to franchise him. Do you know what you have? That's a conundrum is what it is. Yes, Marv.
Now, you've covered teams before, and have you seen maybe a backup point guard, a backup quarterback, or whoever kill it in practice, and the coaches are like, we've seen enough? Do you think the coaches have seen enough maybe of him in practice just throwing ropes to where they say, all right, Jordan Love's probably the guy?
Well, I'll go back to Steve Nash, and they knew what they had. He just didn't get any playing time when he was backing up Jason Kidd and Kevin Johnson. But it's rare. We knew this with the Chiefs. They drafted Mahomes. Alex Smith just led him to 12 wins, went to the playoffs, and all of a sudden they go, that guy is better than that guy. And we thought, wow, that's rough. You're going to move on from Alex Smith. Nobody brings that up anymore because it was the right move. I don't know what you have at Jordan Love because the Packers surprised a lot of people that they went after Jordan Love. Now, there were other teams interested in Jordan Love as a first-round draft pick from what I'm told. But at age 24, I got to believe I know who he is and what he's going to be. And if you knew that 2 years ago or last year, would you have just said to Aaron Rodgers, we're going to move on? It feels like the Packers are rebuilding right in front of our very eyes, but they still got a quarterback making $50 million a year. Yeah, Marv.
I'm sure some of the people on the Packers were surprised too. I'm sure some people in the front office was like, wait, did they say Jordan Love? Wait, we drafted like quarterback Jordan Love?
Yeah.
There has to be a wide receiver named Jordan Love. No, the quarterback.
Well, Aaron Rodgers says the season is not over yet.
Yeah, season's not over. There's still 6 opportunities left. We got a tough game. Got to go to Philly. Hopefully we can, these few days, get a little healthier, refresh the mind, and then obviously we got to win these next games.
Can you?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
What would you say the reasons would be that you can?
Well, I think last week showed us a lot, the possibilities. This week we just didn't play as complimentary on all 3 phases.
Okay. But the media, can you win? It would have been great if Aaron Rodgers goes, are you kidding me? Look at this roster. No, I can't win. If you pulled a Durant and said, look who I have to go out there and play with. But you got to find out what you have with Jordan Love at some point. Yeah, Paulie.
His contract makes us a real problem, too, because they, in the offseason, the Packers would have to pick up his 5th-year option or not. And if they don't, and he somehow plays next year and plays well, then they have to sign him. If they give him his 5th-year option, then they're giving him like $18 million to sit on the bench, or I don't know. It's very wonky.
If they play 500 ball the rest of the way, you're going 7-10. Ooh. Yes, Eden.
I mean, I get hindsight and all, but if Aaron Rodgers' thumb has been bad since New York, and that's since then they've lost 6 of 7.
Yeah.
Maybe he should have just not played.
Well, but I don't know how serious this is. Because when I'm watching the Cowboys, I'm thinking, boy, the thumb really bothers him. They're running the football the whole time. We knew the Cowboys were susceptible to a good running attack. And then all of a sudden, the second half, he starts throwing the football. I'm like, well, maybe the thumb is not the problem. Maybe it's how the game is called there. But the Titans, oh, by the way, 7-3. 7-3. Here they go again. Where you watch them and you go, I don't have an opinion on Ryan Tannehill.
No opinion.
No, I just sort of watch him and I go, I don't know. He could throw for 300 yards or he could throw for 129 yards. I just don't. Think of a quarterback. How many quarterbacks do you go, I don't have an opinion? Ryan Tannehill is one of those quarterbacks where I'd go, I don't know. I have an opinion on Mike Vrabel, Jeffrey Simmons, Derrick Henry. I don't have one on Ryan Tannehill. Yeah, Paul.
It's weird because Ryan Tannehill has made 1 Pro Bowl. No one says he's not a good quarterback, but he's never spoken of the great NFL quarterbacks. Yeah, I don't even think he's talked about as a top 10 when the top 10 list comes around.
Oh, never.
But his career, he's got 209 touchdown passes and 106 interceptions. There's a lot of guys who aspire to have those kind of numbers.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
He's 76-61 as a starter.
That's pretty good.
Way better than Matt Stafford.
Yeah, sure. Tannehill, 16-yard touchdown pass to Austin Hooper was the Titans' first fourth-quarter touchdown of the season. That's amazing. Derrick Henry, 10 rushing touchdowns this season. He's the fifth player in NFL history with at least 10 rushing touchdowns in 5 straight seasons. Let me see if you'll get these. One you should get, maybe 2. I'll give it to you again. Here's the wording. Derrick Henry is the fifth running back in NFL history with at least 10 rushing touchdowns in 5 straight seasons. Todd, I'm going to start with you.
I'm going to take Paulie's Walter Payton.
No. Seton O'Connor Jr. III.
Barry Sanders.
No. Marv.
Emmitt Smith.
No. Paulie.
LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yes. Back to you, Todd.
Terrell Davis.
No. Seton.
Tiki Barber.
No. Marvin.
Marshawn Lynch.
No. Paulie.
Edgerrin James?
No.
That's a good guess.
Okay. Do you want to try again, Todd?
Tony Dorsett.
No. Seton.
I don't even want to throw.
Okay. Marv.
Amon Green.
No.
Love the guess, though.
I'm gonna give you a bloop for Amon Green.
Priest Holmes.
No.
Oh.
Hint.
A hint.
Like his name.
Michael Turner.
Michael the Burner Turner from Northern Illinois?
Michael Turner. Oh, don't act like you.
I had no
should
idea.
have known that.
I didn't. I had no idea.
Marcus Allen.
Nope.
Unfortunately, no.
This is what?
This guy is going to the Hall of Fame.
Not. Oh.
He'll fight you.
Marshawn Lynch?
Is that a boxing reference?
We already had Marshawn Lynch. Thanks for listening. Adrian Peterson.
Oh, yeah. Man, I forgot about him.
Another one, a guy who had one of the more incredible single seasons in NFL history. Marv?
Chris Johnson.
No. Paulie?
Jamal Lewis.
No.
That's a good guess.
It's going to haunt me.
Sean Alexander.
Stat of the day.
Stat of the day. Stat of the day.
See some turkey.
This is the stat of the day.